Welcome, beautiful people of all ages, shapes, and colors, to another episode of the Hit Your Free Throws podcast, where we encourage you to stick to the basics. I'm one of your hosts, TV, aka TV on Basketball, alongside my co-host, Jay, aka the Knockdown Jay. How's it going, my guy?
Man, it's crazy, bro. The NBA trade deadline feels like it's tomorrow. The way the NBA trade rumors are churning at full force, bro. Paired with the fact that the All-Star weekend is literally a month from now at this point.
Basically, yeah.
I mean, we are officially past the midway portion of the season. It feels like all the things that could heat up in the NBA are starting to heat up. It's an exciting time.
100%, man. There's a lot to talk about. We had a great episode last week talking about our predictions for each NBA team. You definitely should go check that out. And we're going to continue to talk more, big-time topics because, Jay, as of recording, tomorrow is the last day to vote for your NBA All-Star starters. So I thought it's like the perfect time to choose our NBA All-Stars. We got the starters. We got the bench. I know we have the whole thing with the international stuff, but we'll try and get through the 8. Maybe we'll just walk into it. Who knows? But we're going to go with these with our picks. But yeah, we're going to name our East All-Stars, our West All-Stars, 12 each. That should be pretty good. And of course, and then we're going to end the episode talking about our dream fields for the three-point and the dunk contest as well. So it should be an action-packed episode. We're talking about some of the best players in the league so far this year. A good kind of recap of what's going on over the first half of the season. We're almost at 41 games, Jay. We're almost at the halfway point.
Yeah.
So super excited to talk about this. Let's see who makes the All-Stars, who's going to be stunned out of our list. Should be a damn good episode. But Jay, before we get into those picks, we do have to plug our socials. Make sure you follow our individual socials at TV on Basketball, at The Routine Jumper. Those links can be found in the description down below. In terms of the Hit Your Free Throws podcast, follow us on TikTok and Instagram for the best daily NBA content. You got the picks, news, clips, series, all that good stuff. You can find the best daily NBA content there. There's like 2 or 3 videos a day on that joint. So make sure you go check that out. You could find all those links down below as well. If you're a new YouTube member, to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you will not miss an episode. Shout out to you guys joining the fam on the YouTube short. So appreciate you guys coming on. And as well, if you're listening to our podcasts on any of the podcast networks, Spotify and Apple, subscribe, leave a review, all the good stuff. We appreciate all of y'all's support. Jay, you ready to get into this?
Yes, sir.
100%. And we're going to be starting with the All-Star picks, and we're going to be starting in our Eastern Conference, Jay. We're going to our backyard. We're going to go with the conference that we know very well.
Yes, sir.
You remember how this goes? It's completely positionless, Jay, this time.
Yeah, that helps a ton. I'm not going to lie. It actually made the process a lot easier, I think, in my personal opinion, this year.
Yeah, no, 100%. Compared to especially, I think we've done, All-Star picks, for, the last 2 or 3 years now. It's felt like, you have to make sure you hit the limits of the guards, centers, wild cards, and all that. Because of the whole new changes to All-Star, the changes to All-NBA, it's been a lot easier to just say, okay, here's the 12 best players of the East, 12 best players of the West. Again, we're going to mention the whole international stuff. We'll see if we get to 8. Jay, I'm going to tell you right now, I actually got exactly 8 by the end of mine.
Okay.
So it actually worked out pretty well. But yeah, we're going to go into this. And we're going to start off, Jay. Should we start? Yeah, we're going to start off in the Eastern Conference here. I think the way we're going to do this is I'm going to kind of list my, absolute locks, and then we'll kind of go, band for band if you tell me if you have these guys on your list or not. Sound good?
Okay. That works for me.
Yeah. So these are the ones I feel like, okay, we're going to start in the East again, but here are my absolute locks. Again, when we go through each of these names, tell me if you have them on your list as well. Giannis.
Yeah.
100%. Giannis 100% on this list. Tyrese Maxey?
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey both on this list. Cade Cunningham?
Yeah.
Yes, I had a feeling we both had Cade. Donovan Mitchell?
That's the thing about positionless. You see where we're at right now. It's skewed after Giannis. It's very backcourt heavy for a second there, because I'm pretty sure there's another guard that you have to mention. He plays forward sometimes too, but there's another guy in the mix there that has to be in that conversation.
Yeah. So we have already 4 names already similar on these lists, and I know which guy you're talking about here. Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown for sure is on this list. This guy has to be on both of ours. Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I believe he's top 2 in the voting for the Eastern Conference right now as well,
New
right?
York love, man. The New York love over there.
Yeah.
People love
that usually helps carry too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Jalen Brunson.
There's 5 New York Knicks in the top 5 in the top 20. I think also Josh Hart is somewhere there. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, all of them are on there. So a shout out to them. So those are the absolute locks. Those are the ones I thought we were both gonna have.
Yeah.
I feel like this guy should be just as much of a lock though. Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes has been good enough to campaign for. I think that as far as forwards in the Eastern Conference are concerned, he is right up there. He has a little bit of competition, I will not lie, but I think that he should be the first name that we really like. As far as the forward positions, once you get past Giannis, I think Scotty Barnes should be the first name up too.
100%. Okay, so we both love Scotty Barnes. Love to hear it. And I think we also should have this guy too because he's having a breakout year as well. Jalen Johnson.
Yeah,
Jalen Johnson. So yeah, we were doing pretty good, Jay.
yeah.
We're doing pretty good. This is where it gets kind of interesting, I feel like. And again, games play is going to be a big part, but also, depends on what you value here. I'm going to go with who I think is going to be the next lock, I guess.
Oh,
I'm going to say Franz Wagner.
that's tough, man. You know I love the Orlando Magic, but that's a tough one.
So
That's a
you don't
tough
have
one.
Franz on your list.
Yeah, I don't have Franz on my list. There was a point where I tried to put Franz on simply for the international value aspect of the fact that you do have to have 8 guys that eventually make the roster. I just could not get there. He easily was like the most consistent and best player for the Orlando Magic before going down. I think he was averaging about 22 points, 6, 7
Yeah.
rebounds here and there, was very consistent. The three ball was at least like present. It might not have been like elite or anything like that, but there was at least strides forward as far as the 3-point shooter when he was on the floor. But it's just been so long. Can he make up some of that ground if he does come back in time for the Germany game against Memphis later on this
I
week?
think that was my thing because I was about to leave him off too, but then I like kind of realized like, he is playing this week. It seems like
But
so.
when again did you say that the closing for the
Well, for the
voting is?
starters, the starters
Oh, for
closing.
the start. I mean, yeah, yeah, for the starters it'll be over.
I mean, like I understand the games
Yeah,
played. I think it's gonna be
he's very much in like asterisk honorable mention area because again, the international aspect of it is the part that that kept the door open for me. I just couldn't get there.
okay. So yeah, Franz is the one. Okay, so that's the first difference we have on both of our lists. But
Yeah,
Franz, honestly, like you mentioned, low key, if he played like 30 games, I feel like he should be like a near lock for this. But the 24 games, I understand. Like maybe it's a bit, cause for concern. But hopefully
yeah,
he actually like at least plays enough games where like when we get to All-Star break, it's like what he, kind of caught up with the rest, that sort of thing. So
right.
yeah, definitely one that at least that's one different. I'm interested to hear that. I'll give you another name that I think that possibly both of us have.
Okay.
Jalen Duran.
So he's another one that I think is like when we talk about the front court, he's another one that I thought had like a legitimate argument. I feel like if you're gonna be on a team like Detroit, like I hate using this as like the litmus test, but we seed it every other year, so we have to stay consistent. If you're a top seed in your conference and you're one of the best players and you've been producing, and he's although he's not gotten that much better defensively, he's at least improved defensively, and we know offensively he's been much more significant within his role as a player that can kind of play through. We saw that mainly in time frames where like Cade Cunningham missed time and things like that. I think you gotta respect it. I think
So
you
yeah,
gotta respect it.
yeah, oh no, 100%. So you have him on your list.
Yeah, Jalen
Okay.
Duren was one of those that I felt like that was a little tougher for me because again, like there are some bigs on this list that I do like. Like we haven't discussed them yet, but like Karl Anthony Towns is one that I do have like real questions about whether or not he fits on this list. I think once you throw the international aspect of it in there, it helps him a little bit,
A little bit.
a
I
little
will.
bit. But
Yeah,
Jalen Duren ended up kind of making it over the top for me, though.
yeah. No, I got it. I got it. So yeah, we both have Jalen Duren on this list. So only so far one difference, which is Franz. I'm excited to see who you have as a difference between that. But I think I have two more guys on this list. One of them, Norman Powell.
He should be here, shouldn't he?
I had Norman Powell in.
Can I just I'm not gonna divert us too far off the rails, but can I start a debate that I think is an interesting one?
Sure. Let's go for it.
Because this is positionless, right? And that's a factor that I'm still trying to get a grasp on, even when it comes to things like when we discuss all NBA and things of that nature later on in the year.
Yeah.
I've tried to find every reason in the world to convince myself that Michael Porter Jr. isn't an all-star. And I don't know if it has anything to do with the fact that we've seen Andrew Wiggins get selected for an All-Star game before, or what kind of inconsistencies we've seen in the past as far as players that like really are an all-star versus like had themselves like a flash in the pan year. Norman Powell feels like he deserves to be in because we learned from last season that it's actually real based off
Yes,
seeing him in a different uniform being equally, if not more effective. Right?
the best career year for Norman Powell. To be completely honest, in my opinion, this is probably the best year of his career so far.
So for me, right, because we start coming down the pipeline, again, Karl Anthony Towns is somebody that I had kind of on the fence here. I see a world where one of Norman Powell and Michael Porter Jr. get in, but I don't think both of them get in. And in my opinion, I think that Norman Powell has a better chance or is more deserving
Fair,
of
fair.
getting in. But I think Michael Porter Jr. has looked more like a star, just not in a more successful scenario. I think Norman Powell has been great. No disrespect to him. Again, I think that this season is doubling down on proving that last season was not just a fluke. But I would say that Michael Porter Jr. as an overall package has shown us maybe a few more things that scream all-star as opposed to Norman Powell, who just comes off as a very productive player that's finally getting his time to shine. I think Norman Powell is the more deserving all-star, but like everything else beyond that is where I kind of draw the line because I really do wonder, like, yo, can you really leave Michael Porter Jr. off with the way he's been playing this year?
What's crazy, Jay, is like you said, it's hard for you to put like at least like both of them on. He was the final guy I put on this list.
Okay, see, because I knew we were down to our last like two or three, and I figured like we were gonna have to kind of draw a line in the sand somewhere. So you have them both on. Okay.
I removed. I'll tell you right now. I removed Karl Anthony Towns at the last minute.
Okay, so he was your last bite. I'm not gonna lie, like I said, he was teetering for me, and that's why I said like we could kind of start a conversation here because the positionless aspect, obviously, that's a power forward center. Then you have Michael Porter Jr. more of small forward, power forward type. Then you have Norman Powell, shooting guard, all different positions. So it's not really a worry of you know the
Yeah,
positional value. This is just a question of who do you think has been the most productive, and I think that's fair. I do think that's fair.
yeah, no, 100%. And speaking of Michael Porter Jr., and I want to bring this back to the conversation we had like early in December because we were
Okay.
talking about the idea of Michael Porter Jr. being traded, and by all reports, it actually looks like he actually might be on the move before the deadline because he's
Yeah.
like I think according to like Mark Stein or something, he's like 99% sure he's gonna get traded.
Yeah.
It feels like Brooklyn Nets are gonna sell high, and I don't blame them. As much as I think that he is a great player, has been great for them, and if you want to compete next year, especially because you don't have your first round pick, you want to have someone like Michael Porter Jr. on your team. But I get it. I get the idea of selling high.
Right.
We said back in December, we don't know if he's gonna be able to maintain the success,
Mm.
maintain these efficient scoring these percentages. He's been, I think, even a bit better than what we said
Yeah.
than at that point. And look, the Brooklyn Nets are 11-26. We're not gonna say like there's nothing. This has nothing to do with like team success. But he's basically on such a bad team. By the way, I think like a point one. I know it's very minuscule, but point one plus a net rating, slightly better when he's on the court. Which is what I will say for the Brooklyn Nets. That's saying a lot because that is a terrible basketball team.
Yeah,
For
that's
the say
true.
that to show that Michael Porter Jr. is actually providing positive impact on that team shows that he's doing really good. But the stats, man, you can't like look at these stats. I know people will say like, "Oh, Bradley Beal with the 30 points per game, he didn't
I
make
was
it All
just
Star."
thinking the same thing, but the thing is, even when you make the net rating argument, like Bradley Beal had like a plus minus that was like negatives into the double digits during that time frame when he was averaging 30. So this was
Right.
the definition of not being really a tide that rises all ships to say the least. Like this is a guy that like really was just going out there to get buckets because nobody else could. It genuinely does feel like when Michael Porter Jr. is on the floor, good things happen for the Brooklyn Nets, though.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I remember like talking about it the last episode, like early on in December, where the stats were like 48, 38, 37, and maybe I think like low 30s, like low 80s from the free throw line. It was very efficient, but we just didn't know if he was able to keep it up, especially because he had such a huge offensive load for this team.
Exactly.
But now, 49% from the field, 40.5% from three,
Yeah.
83% at the line. All that stuff has gone up, Jay. And he is showing that he is not someone who is, never swing the rock Porter Jr. He has proven to be just as effective as an off-ball player as he has been an on-ball player. And I think we got to reward the man for just sticking through it through the season and being just as effective, being available, playing
Yeah.
30 games this year. I feel like he should be given his flowers. I know it might be, some people might say, him and Norm, that sort of thing. I don't mind putting both. I really don't mind putting both of him here.
I think, see, the other thing is technically you have a little bit more leeway as far as your international players because I think we're both going to have a very, very similar list for the West. I mean, we were pretty on par for most of the East, but you have a foreign player already covered in Franz to go alongside Giannis.
Yeah.
So me, on the other hand, because I didn't have Franz on my list, I guess my quote-unquote foreign player was Cat in this case.
Okay. So so on your list you have like one, like on your official All-Star list you have like one international player short, kind of.
Yeah, because outside of Giannis, I don't have anybody else that qualifies. Right, we go down the list. Right, so we agreed: Giannis, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey, Cade Cunningham, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown. We're 7 deep. We said Jalen Johnson, right? Michael Porter Jr., Norman Powell.
Yeah.
So our only, and then Scotty Barnes.
Yeah.
So our only real disconnect is either Karl Anthony Towns versus Norman Powell or Karl Anthony Towns versus Michael Porter Jr. That's why I posed the question to you. Because for me, I'm missing another foreign star because you have Franz to fill that spot. I don't have that.
Okay. So who did you have? So who did you have as like the one guy that's like different from myself?
That was Cat. I had Norman Powell and Cat. You had Franz. Wait, so you had Franz, Norman, and Michael Porter Jr.?
Yes.
So am I over a player or under a player? I guess I think we're right on par. My difference is Karl Anthony Towns and yours is Franz then.
Okay, so
in that sense. I guess we could do that. I guess I could do it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could just do. So you didn't have Franz in, but you had Cat in.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because like that's another conversation I want to have. Because like I mentioned with you, with Karl Anthony Towns, he was on my list. I truly was having him on the list, but then I just kept looking at Michael Porter Jr. And I'm like, I can't leave this off. I really can't leave this off. And I even like challenged him like at least on the pod that Michael Porter Jr. like can't make it to like the All-Star break doing this type of production. I just didn't think it was sustainable.
Yeah.
It turns out it is sustainable. So I want to reward him because of that as well. In terms of the Karl Anthony Towns thing, I want to hear your thoughts on like why you have him in over someone like a Franz Wagner. I guess games played is a big part of it too. But I feel like this has been like a real underwhelming year for Karl Anthony Towns, especially compared to last year where he was like an offensive juggernaut over there for the New York Knicks. And not to say that he has been horrible this year. I've just been a little bit underwhelmed. I mean, the stats say here 21 points per game, 11 rebounds per game. It's more the percentages that really kind of like bring me down on Karl Anthony Towns. It's the lowest field goal percentage since his rookie year. His lowest 3-point percentage since like it's like second or third year or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just not been as offensively, explosive as he was last year. And the defense, obviously, with Karl Anthony Towns has a lot to be desired. So as much as the New York Knicks have been a really good team year, obviously second best record in the East, and you could definitely make the argument that they deserve to have two. Like if anyone's going to be that, it is going to be Karl Anthony Towns. But in terms of a Karl Anthony Towns type season, I just been sort of underwhelmed. So it just kind of gave me a little bit more wiggle room to throw out a bit more, like a few more wild cards I never thought that I would maybe include in the Eastern Conference All-Star conversation.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Again, I think if we're going strictly just bar for bar, which it sounds like we are, it sounds like, if I'm not mistaken, I might have messed up somewhere here and not realized how similar our lists truly were. Our lists were basically bar for bar the exact same, with Michael Porter Jr. and Norman Powell both on, and the only real separator was this group right here, the two foreign-borns being Karl Anthony Towns versus Franz
Okay.
Wagner. For me,
Yeah.
that feels like a little bit easier of a debate, not necessarily because I think that Franz Wagner is not a better player than Karl Anthony Towns. I'd actually make the argument that I think that when Franz was healthy, he was playing better than what Karl Anthony Towns has
Yeah.
produced. I think there's two things that stand out to me most importantly. One is the inconsistency of the Orlando Magic. That's both been before
Okay.
and after
Yeah.
Franz Wagner was on the floor. The inconsistency of the Orlando Magic, specifically trying to figure out what their play style is going to be. I know that doesn't have as much impact on an All-Star game and so on and so forth. Franz was a guy that I thought was a shoo-in to be in the All-Star game this year before the year started, simply because the foreign-born aspect opened up the floodgates that much more for the opportunity, right? Especially in an Eastern Conference that's not even that deep to begin with at that position.
Yeah.
But again, between the Orlando Magic not necessarily knowing, they're one of the biggest enigmas to me in the Eastern Conference, because I feel like
Yeah. Yeah.
once they get back fully healthy, they couldn't be a true animal. The question is, what does that look like? The New York Knicks, on the other hand, have kind of quietly, and given the fact that it's the Knicks, this is going to be a weird thing to say, but humbly kind of flown under the radar as a 2 seed. Like,
Yeah.
as a number 2 overall seed in the Eastern Conference, people have not really discussed the New York Knicks very glowingly too much this season. There's been so much focus on John Morant, Anthony Davis, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Trey. There's been so many conversations around the trade block that, especially when you have two teams in the Detroit Pistons and the New York Knicks sitting at the top, who are two teams that are very unlikely to make a real significant move at the trade deadline, you just haven't heard very much about them as of late. Yet here they are, kind of just model of consistency. Their offense is up. Defensively, they could be a lot better. Especially given the fact that Mike Brown comes from being a defensive coordinator background with the Golden State Warriors. Definitely could be a lot better defensively than they have been so far this season. But going back to what Karl Anthony Towns specifically, maybe this is very similar to the Duran thing, but top 2 seed, I think easily their second best player this season. The efficiency stats aren't great. He is second in the NBA in rebounding so far
Yes.
this year,
Yeah.
and the New York Knicks are, I believe, a top 7 rebounding team in the NBA this season as well. It's not, for me with Karl Anthony Towns, the lesson I've learned with him is that it's not necessarily going to be pretty, but it tends to be effective, even if it's on an inconsistent basis. And that's kind of been where Karl Anthony Towns is for me. The good games are so good, you can't deny that he's a top 5 center in the league when he's really hooping. It's just the bad games make you really wonder what the upside of the team is long term if you're worried about how he's going to produce in a 7-game series. Thankfully, this has nothing to do with 7-game series, and we're just going based off what he's done in the regular season.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. He feels like one of those guys, whether it's the East or the West, that he was going to be a perennial All-Star pick no matter what. And to be honest, he probably will get in just based on merit alone. Especially like how All-Star coaches, right? How they like to vote in like the guys who have been there more times than not. So that's why we've seen people like Damian Lillard get in a lot every single year. We've seen like a lot of like repeats because coaches have respect more for the guys who have been doing it year in year out. And Karl Anthony Towns is the type of guy to do it year in and year out. But
Mm.
I felt like, especially with my picks, there was enough of an underwhelming factor to his game this year where I felt like, okay, with some of these budding stars in the Eastern Conference and like a bit more of that wild card factor, I can go a little bit crazy. And it's not like the East is like completely deep. And when we go to the West is a freaking bloodbath on
Oh
some of
my
these
goodness.
some of these
The
choices.
West was actually way easier to pick, despite how like similar our lists were for the East. I think we're gonna blaze through the Western Conference because like the names are like scarily obvious. They're
A lot of
scarily
scarily,
obvious.
yeah. There might be like one or two, but again, it might include games played and stuff like that. But we'll get into it. But yeah, I know what you mean here. I don't mind if Cat goes in. I understand why Franz would go out, but I think, like I mentioned, I think the games played will eventually catch up with Franz enough where it's like, okay, it wouldn't be like looking as bad when we get into the All-Star game. But before we move on to the West, Jay, I'm going to mention some names here and tell me if you feel like they got a good chance, just
Mm,
like a good feeler to see if like these guys like could potentially like actually have a legitimate case to be an All-Star in the East. I'll name you some guys that I was potentially thinking of. One of them
okay.
is Josh Giddey.
He was on there. Of course, we're riding the high more of the first 7 games. He's picked up as of late. He's picked up as of late. But the inconsistency of him and the Bulls in general, oh man,
The injury
it's
doesn't
not good
help
enough
too.
right now. It's
Yeah,
not
and
good
the
enough
injury
right
doesn't
now.
help too as well. Like we don't know like if he's gonna be available. But yeah, the Josh Giddey like what first 2 to 3 weeks was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So that definitely does carry a lot of weight, especially in terms of his stat, like where his stats stand. I just wanted to give him a shout out. I mean, I think it's the drop off is a bit too much, and the Bulls are not really like showcasing a lot there to be desired. Another guy I was thinking of, again, a bit of a wild card, but could be like a surprising extra guy for this team in the East. Derek White.
Derek White was like a guy that I had like on the fringe outside. Um,
The efficiency is not great at all. He's shooting like 53% true
I
shooting. It's
feel like
not.
last year when I made the case for him,
Yes, yeah, I
last
do
year
remember
was the
that.
year.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? It felt like he missed his Andrew Wiggins shining moment, bro. Like that was the year where like the flash in the pan season felt really good. And it's not that Derek White has fell off necessarily, but like you said, the efficiency is just so much different than last year. I mean, last year as a 3-point shooter, I mean, TV, especially at the volume that he
yeah.
was shooting last year, was ridiculous. Ridiculous. But this season is not as eye popping of a stat line across the board. I'm not necessarily saying that in terms of his counting numbers. Derek White's never been, a stat sheet stuffer, but efficiency has always really carried his success, especially in his time with the Boston Celtics. Like I said, I felt like last year
Was
when
the
we
year to
had
do
that
so?
conversation,
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
remember debating that on the podcast.
I do
It
remember that.
felt like last season was the one where it truly, truly was supposed to happen, and I think he missed the window.
Yeah, 100%. Another like weird one that we didn't even like mention, but I guess it makes sense with the underwhelming play of this team. Evan Mobley.
So with Evan Mobley, the tricky part about Evan is that if we truly are, again, factoring in just like individual performance and not looking at the whole picture, like we take the fiasco going on with some of the on the court stuff with Cleveland out because
Yeah,
they don't even look right now, right? For example, Lonzo Ball can't find consistency on the floor to the point that they're playing Craig Porter Jr. more than him, right? There's a
yeah,
lot of other things wrong with Cleveland. But I feel like we've seen this movie with Evan before. I mean,
yeah.
have we gotten to that point where it feels very Bam
Pedestrian.
Adebayo-esque of like we feel like we've seen every ounce of game they've got, and it's very consistent. The numbers look like you copy and pasted it from last year, right? Maybe the
Yeah,
defensive anchor stats are a little bit different, better or worse in one or two stats. I don't think he's contesting shots at nearly as effective of a rate percentage wise, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
yeah,
Like he's just kind of there right now, if that
yeah,
makes any sense.
yeah. It's like I wouldn't say it's kind of like the Carl Anthony Towns thing, but it's like you mentioned, it's very much copy and paste, and it doesn't have the same effect to it when the Cavaliers are not dominating the East like they did last year.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same sort of effect. The defense is. I mean, he's been a great individual defender. Again, you said there's a lot of like problems with the Cavs overall, and I think that's what's like putting Evan Mobley a lot of out of these conversations. He's having a good year, but it's like it's an Evan Mobley year. Nothing really like stands out like you mentioned. So especially with a lot of these guys who have stood out on their teams and had potentially better records, better efficiency and all that. Like it makes a lot of sense why he might just fall short of our list. The only other guy that I was potentially thinking of, Brandon Ingram of the Toronto Raptors. Again, a surprising team in the East. He's been looking pretty good this year. I feel like Scotty Barnes, like we both mentioned, is the lock for that team. But Brandon
Mhm.
Ingram has had a pretty solid case for All-Star as well this year.
I think the thing with BI is just going to come down to I think that he's deserving of being in the conversation. I feel like he's had a couple moments here and there too that were big time. And that forward position, again, like even look at it again, and I mean, I know it's position list, so it helps a little bit. But let's even compare him to some of the forwards that we did go with, right? Like I don't think he's outperformed Scotty, right, this season. I don't necessarily know if I would take him over MPJ right now. In
I
terms
wouldn't.
of what they've been able to do productivity wise, we know Giannis is he's a done deal, so that
Yeah,
one's fine as long as Giannis is
yeah.
healthy. That's fine. Um,
Franz. I mean,
so yeah,
there's an argument for Franz, but at the same time, I think Franz again has been more effective, like in the time that he's played as well.
hmm yeah,
Yeah,
I would say. And again, that's the weird part about Franz to me because I genuinely feel like if Franz had came back, let's say if Franz had came back last week when Mo came back from his ACL injury, even it would have like I know it sounds silly because it doesn't add that many more games. It would have added what one or two more games to his total.
yeah,
That's not really the point. I think it's more so of just like seeing enough more of Franz before those final votes close out. I know they've got a little bit more time than just the starters, right? But it's not that much more time, TV. And I think
yeah,
that games played stuff does have to matter a little bit. If we're factoring it in for All NBA, I'm not saying he has to play 65. He has to be on pace for 65 games to be an All-Star candidate,
yeah,
but Franz is on the lower end of what would be the requisite number, I think.
yeah. No, I know what you mean. But yeah, there's just a few guys that I mentioned, and just again, some weird ones that we just thought that would be like an automatic for this year, but like Paolo just been super underwhelming for the Magic. The efficiency is super down. Just hasn't been that sort of guy. Bam Adebayo, same court sort of thing. It's kind of like not like underwhelming, but it's like it's just Bam stats, and it's not. And Norm, especially with this new offense, has really stood out more like in this system as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, a couple of like the All Star, prerequisites, the All Star, normals, normies, kind of got pushed out. But it's nice to know that there's a lot of good wild cards in the East that can really make a play for first time All Stars because quite a bit of them on this list actually with MPJ that we have Jalen Johnson, Norman Powell, Franz Wagner if he ends up getting chosen, Jalen Duran. Like there's a lot of good like potential first time All Stars, man. The East is kind of exciting at least on that end.
Yeah. Eastern Conference is in a really interesting spot because I think it's going to reflect when we go to the Western Conference in a second, but the youth of the East is definitely showing itself
Yes, yes, it is.
in our picks. You can see that although the overall notoriety value of the Eastern Conference is not where we're so used to, right? I mean, there was a universe where like LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, right? Like you go down the
Mellow,
list,
yeah.
Melo, you go down the list, and the Eastern Conference used to be like insane. The West has always kind of had a juggernaut of a roster across the line when you think about NBA, All NBA
Yeah.
selections, All Star selections, things of that nature. But the Eastern Conference also used to have like all these really strong headliners to help. This year feels like the first real representation of like a youth movement taking place in the Eastern Conference, and I think it's necessary. I mean, we joke about it all the time that one or two, really significant trades could flip the Western Conference into like a much more one-sided affair if we joked about like if Giannis went to the West, right? Or the fact that, KD went from Brooklyn,
Yeah.
back to the Western Conference,
Hmm.
with the Phoenix Suns and then stays in the Western Conference, going to the Houston Rockets. Like it feels like there's a bit of a youth renaissance type of thing taking place in the Eastern Conference, and I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. Somebody has to take the initiative to try to find who the next, young face of the league is going to be, and it sounds like the Eastern Conference wants it a bit more. I think a
Yeah.
lot of the people who you put in the hat for the best player conversations as far as like the new face of the league that are in the West don't really want it and have like been very verbal about not necessarily wanting the title. On the other side, I think the Eastern Conference is a little bit hungrier. I think they realize they're a little bit of a talent disadvantage, and they're meeting that with youth.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we're gonna go to the West now. There's a lot of familiar faces, Jay. Lots
Yeah,
of familiar faces. And I'm gonna do
yeah.
the same thing here. I'm gonna go through who I feel like are the locks. I feel I'm gonna have a lot of similarities here, but we're really gonna go through it. All right. SGA,
Easy,
Luka Doncic,
easy,
Wemby,
easy.
Nikola Jokic, Yeah,
Easy, unfortunately easy because we might have to. He might be replaced out again. I think me and TV talked about it earlier on before we started recording that there's a likelihood that he won't even return until the top of February. So the likelihood that he'll play in the All Star game is probably unlikely. He hardly wants to play as it is now. I think if
yeah,
he's coming off of an injury, I don't think he wants one of his first games back to be on an All Star court. So you might
yeah.
end up having to find a replacement. But
Nice.
as far as selection is concerned,
He
lock.
will
I mean,
be. He's
the man's been injured this whole time. It still is at the top of the NBA Kia MVP ladder. That goes to show
yeah,
you how dominant the dude was when he was playing. If in case you weren't sure
yeah.
beforehand, you know.
100%, 100%. By the way, I'm gonna put a disclaimer for the West. This is gonna be like my list of who I think are deserving to be All Stars. There's gonna be someone here who I don't include that is probably gonna be on, but and I'm gonna mention it a bit later, but he's not
Okay.
on my list. Next one though. So the first four we got easy. Steph Curry.
I think he's played well enough. I think he's
Yes.
played well enough. There's gonna be a guy that I think a lot of people are gonna be pissed doesn't make it, and it's gonna make sense. But Steph, I think for what he's done at the consistency that he's done it, specifically still having to be a number one option at that as
Yeah.
well, I think he deserves to be on.
100%. Anthony Edwards.
Yeah. That's a
Yes.
lot. That's a lot.
100%. Jamal Murray. I have it's a lock.
It's not that he's not a lock. It's just I want to hear more names.
100%. So yeah. So I think I had Jamal Murray on my list. I'm gonna put in Denny Avdia.
He's one of those that I think foreign born or not, he was going to be on my list for this year.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think I think the improvement jump that he's made this season is very much deserving of it. I think he's got himself into real. Is he number one on a championship team? No, but do I think he can be a real offensive engine on a team that's playoff caliber? I genuinely do.
He's entered like borderline top 20 discussions.
Yeah,
Like that's how good he's been playing this year. So shout
yeah.
out to Denny Avdia. I think this guy forced himself into these conversations. Kawhi Leonard.
He's put himself in the convo. And he's
Okay.
actually played a lot more than people give him credit.
That's what I mean. He's
Yeah,
playing. Like
yeah.
he's playing and
He has
playing like
definitely played a lot more this year than a lot of people give him credit.
okay.
I'll allow this one because I do think that I think that's totally fair. I think that's totally fair.
Kevin Durant.
Yeah, that one feels like a lock to me too.
I'm putting his teammate too, Alperen Şengün.
Alperen Şengün he's one of those that I'm concerned. My only thing with Alp is, and this has nothing to do with All-Star team obviously, but like defensively he's just not there. But what he's been able to do offensively this season for this team, as like,
Picked up Matt big time.
I mean, for a team that is struggling with spacing, he sure as heck has not been afraid to shoot the ball, TV. Like, he has not been afraid.
To the detriment sometimes, honestly.
Yes, exactly. To the detriment sometimes. But I would say the mere fact that he has been so flexible offensively, I think, has been like a big thing for this team. You know, you're missing a point guard, a true point guard from a distribution standpoint. From a rim protection standpoint, there's always been question marks about what you can actually pair with an Alperen Şengün. I think we've had this debate on the podcast before. Not necessarily debate, because I think we both kind of agree. But Alp's play style is so similar to Domantas Sabonis's, both in terms of how he plays, but also in terms of how you're able to effectively build around him, that we've always had questions about what to even pair with him defensively to truly have like an above average defense. Now, the Rockets have gone about it by attacking with more point of attack defense, having more guys with real
Yeah.
length on as far as, you know, range of motion, things like that. Having guys like Amin, Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason when healthy, right, to kind of help make up for the lack of rim protection by being able to cover more ground on the perimeter. But outside of that, you know, still a team that feels like they're a point guard away from like really being
Yeah.
something. But Alp offensively Very similar to how we talk about Demontis Sabonis in most years. Like, he's a guy that, like, you can't deny the stats. Like, the stats themselves tell you, like, this dude on a night-to-night basis comes to play.
He's also just a better at just creating his own bucket, man.
Yeah,
Just
that's
better
a
at creating his
yeah.
own
He's
bucket.
gotten much better as a player. I would say it looks it looks a lot harder this year to a certain extent, but you can tell that he's become more effective at making more difficult shots, if that makes sense. I think that
Yeah.
dates back even to that first game of the season against the Oklahoma City Thunder. That game only gets as far as it went because Al P just was constantly hitting difficult runners, mid-range jumpers, hit a couple of threes in that game that like really helped keep the Houston Rockets in that game and eventually get close to winning that game
Yeah.
even. So, and that's kind of continued throughout the season. So yeah, he's gotten way better at tough shots this year.
Yeah. And then my final player, I was thinking of some other people too, but I feel like this team 100% needs a representative. Give me Devin Booker on the Suns. Yeah.
So I was just reading something from Devin Booker actually where he actually spoke on it. He said, "Hey, say what you want, but I know that there's some guys that are on the ballot that are probably gonna get in that I know I'm better than." And I'm gonna be honest with you. That's when I go back to the Jamal Murray thing. And thankfully, after going through the list pretty densely, I actually think that I can get Jamal Murray on this list without having to omit Devin Booker, which I
Yeah.
like. I like that because I don't want to leave D Book off because I think he should be on.
It's
There's
the
two guys
efficiency
I have
that's
a
different.
question about though.
Yeah, who is your question about?
So one I feel like we both have a very similar answer to. The other one I think is the one that has the most debate around it because his name hasn't been said yet. So the one that I feel like there's an interesting conversation around is Austin Reeves.
Oh.
I don't know
It's
if he's been more effective than Jamal Murray, but I think that his peak of this season, if we're going peak for peak of productivity this season, Austin Reeves, when healthy, has looked like a better player than Jamal Murray this season.
offensively sure, but I feel like the gap defensively between him and Jamal is kind of like it's a pretty sizable gap there.
Yeah.
Also, 23 games,
Sure.
that's even less than Franz. That's even less than Franz
Yeah,
Wagner.
true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the games played part for Austin is really kind of like tanked him out. And he had such a strong start to the year. Him and Luka, those first couple of games really set the tone for it. And I mean, Austin, I think, was top 8 in MVP, rankings
Yeah.
earlier on the season too. Again, like I said, if we're going peak for peak, I think Austin definitely had a more effective start to the year. But that's kind of the argument you were making with like a Franz versus Cat type of thing as well, right? Like if we're going, what was the best version of your productivity and not just going based off of games played, like Franz should be a lock over Cat at that point. So if Franz is a lock, or
I
not,
feel like
it's not a lock,
Jamal's
but
it's Jamal is not even that dissimilar to Austin though. Like 20,
yeah,
25, 7.5. It's career highs across the board for Jamal Murray, dude. It's 25.5. It's the 7.5 assists. The defense has been solid enough. 5 rebounds per game. 44% from three.
yeah,
48.
44% from three on. Isn't it like eight attempts per game or somewhere around there too?
I am double checking right now.
Yeah, the
But
volume is kind of nasty, Jamal. Holy,
yeah. I feel like if this is the year, not only is he like finally in All-Star conversations, which we've been waiting for years with Jamal Murray,
true.
he has like put himself into like that conversation. Was like he has to be here. I think
Yeah.
at this point he has to be here.
Well, there's a guy that usually has to be here that we haven't brought up yet, TV.
Yes, and this is
Yeah.
where I made the disclaimer beforehand because you and I both know, and I think we're gonna agree to this. LeBron James will be on this team
He will be on this team.
by nook or crook.
Yeah.
LeBron James will be on this team, whether it's the glaze or the respect that he's gonna get from his peers in the starter vote. Because you saw in the fan voting, he's not very high, surprisingly enough. He's like
Yeah,
what, eighth
I'm
or seventh
looking.
or something like that.
I'm looking at it right now. He's actually sitting right at eighth, and
Yeah, I was gonna say he's like eighth or
the
seventh.
distance
Yeah,
between him and Denny Avdia, who's right above him, is almost 200,000 votes as
so a
of when
decent
this
amount. Yeah.
took place. Now, the screenshot I have is from about a week ago,
So yeah, that's just a
so
second
it
return.
could
Yeah, the
be a
second
little
return.
bit different by now. But as of the last voting release is concerned, I mean, yeah, it's not the same as it was before, for
Yeah,
sure.
100%. But whether it's by the coaches, whether
Mm,
it's by I don't even think media might put him in, but I think his peers would have a good push for LeBron James that he would make it as well. I just think no matter how I look at this team, whether it's for a legacy award or whatever, LeBron's gonna be here.
for
That's
sure.
why it feels like one of these other guys are not gonna be here. Maybe it's gonna be he's gonna take the Jokic spot. Who knows? But that's what I think. Like I think that LeBron, if I were to say like who the league is gonna or who's gonna be the official 12, I think
Mm.
LeBron's gonna be there. Even though I don't think like his season per se showcases like him being one of the top 12 players in the Western Conference. But I just think it's just LeBron, so I just think he's just gonna be in there.
Like I said, I feel like you mentioned beforehand, if even if he gets in D Wade Dirk Nowitzki style, it feels like a done. I mean, the dude has a commemorative patch that's gonna be on his jersey for the rest of the season.
Yes,
Like
yes,
the dude is gonna be in the mix. Does he want to be in the mix? Is a completely different question. I feel as though the thing that I hope is we don't have a repeat of last season, right? I feel like LeBron James last year, I didn't like the taking the spot and then basically the day before kind of electing to take himself out essentially of the All-Star game.
yeah,
I feel like there are in the Western Conference, especially, I definitely think there are some interesting names that you could pass the baton to if you to give them that opportunity to play in that game rather than kind of just taking the All-Star roster spot for the sake of having your name on the list. Um if he wants to have a commemorative spot very similar to the Dirk D Wade spots a few years ago, that's fine. But as far as occupying like a true spot, I hope that if he does, he at least does genuinely play.
yeah, 100%. So he's one of the guys where I'm like, I'm leaving him off mine just because I did want to go with the 12 who like deserving ones, but I just know he's gonna be in.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the other. So in terms of the players that like I listed out, Jay, any differences? Any guys that you like had in there that I didn't like talk about? I know you mentioned Austin Reeves, but yeah,
No, so we didn't actually differ too much. I thought it was interesting. The conversations that I was kind of in between was like obviously Austin, and I think that had to do more with like the peak aspect of Austin. Because like again, comparing like Franz and Cat, I think the peak of Austin is better than all three, or the best of all three in that conversation. So I at least thought that even though games played wise, he kind of isn't there very similar to Franz. I thought that peak version of Austin, when healthy, at least had something to say about it. But then you mentioned Jamal Murray's not that far off. He's been more consistent. He's shown that he's actually been a better playmaker this season, a
yeah,
much better playmaker this season, and has been able to do it without Nikola Jokic on the floor as well. I believe the Nuggets are 3-3, exactly 3-3 in games without Jokic this year so far this
yeah.
season.
Also, shout out to Payne Watson to help out because of that.
Yeah,
Mr. What's the
player
Conference
of
Player
the
of the
week
Week.
or whatever recently.
Yeah,
What the heck? That's definitely I don't know if you remember when like Thaddeus Young was like player of the month or whatever that one time for the Pacers. But that's what I saw when I saw that graphic. Like, yo, what the heck? This is like one of the most random like go off weeks I've ever seen. But
yeah,
yeah, shout out to Peyton Watson as well. Obviously, Christian Brown and Aaron Gordon have been in and out of the lineup. Like the Nuggets across the board have been very ravaged by injuries in their own right. And Jamal Murray, outside of a thing here and there, has been a constant for them. And I do think you also have to respect the fact that even with Jokic missing time, like they have not free fallen as far as the Western Conference standings are concerned. If I'm not mistaken, I believe they're like fourth right
yeah.
now
I think
in
they're
the
fourth. Yeah,
West.
I think they're fourth at the moment. Yeah, they definitely have kept themselves like a lot more competitive. They even beat like the Raptors the other on Christmas Eve. Sorry, New Year's Eve. They beat the Celtics without Nikola Jokic as well. So
Yeah,
some big time wins like without Jokic as well. So shout out to them for sticking
yeah,
together. Shout out to Jalen Pickett too, who's been like stepping up big time for them in his absence.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I would say that I feel like I said, I feel like Jamal should be on. I think our list. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think our lists are. I think exactly the same. I think I had some interesting names that like I threw out for the sake of, but I think our lists are bar for bar the
yeah.
same.
I mean, like, just to go one more point about the Austin Reeves thing. I feel like
Hmm.
that conversation is a bit more comparable, say, to like a Devin Booker, to say like in
True.
that sort of events. I feel like Jamal Murray has kind of like put himself into the lock category. Him and Devin Booker a bit more of a conversation, especially if Austin Reeves maybe had a few more games under his belt. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I feel like if we're on the same wavelength, yeah, I think our 12 is I think at this point very much similar. You mentioned some names that like you want to put out there. I think a few of them as part of my snub list. One of them was Austin Reeves, by the way. I kind of had him like down there just so we could shout out his beginning of the year stuff. Some
Mm.
other guys though, James Harden.
He was somebody that I felt like it was weird when we brought up Kawhi. It was like I couldn't be mad at Kawhi, but it felt like if Kawhi is on, you have to have a conversation about what James has done for the team, given the fact that like he was the only constant while everything else was going to hell around him. I mean, Derrick Jones Jr. down, Bradley Beal down, Ivica Zubac missed like a month. Like Kawhi Leonard started the season out slow as far as injury concerns was factored in. Like James has been the only real constant for LA
Yeah, no,
across the
he's
board.
26, 8, and 5. Like
Yeah.
insane numbers still. I I gave the edge to Kawhi, obviously. You can't have two guys from an 11 seed though. You can't have
Nah,
two guys
and
from an
that's and
11
that's
seed.
where I had to draw the line in the sand. It's like I let it slide for Jalen Duren. I let it slide for Karl Anthony Towns to a lesser degree. But the 11th seed in the Western Conference, as difficult as we know it is in the Western Conference, I mean the separation between the 4 seed and like the 8 seed is like only like a few games. Like it's not,
Yeah.
it's nothing crazy. But I I don't know, man.
Yeah. But James Harden definitely deserves some love. If they're a bit higher, maybe you can make the argument, but I gave the edge to Kawhi there. The other guy I want to give some love to, Chet Holmgren.
Chet Holmgren, I think pound for pound with Wemby has been the best like rim defender in the NBA this season. Like,
I
and you
think
can make the
Jokic
argument
is
that Chet,
yeah.
because of the fact that he has the games played and is on the right trajectory for it, very similarly to how Evan Mobley won Defensive Player of the Year this past season. I think that's how Chet's gonna win it. And no disrespect to Chet to say that he needs Wemby out
Oh,
of the
I was
way
gonna
to win
say.
it, but I do think that because Victor Wembanyama, I believe, is like almost out of the running as of like where we're at right now.
Yeah.
So he's very much almost out of the running for DPOY. I think that's gonna only clear the runway for Chet Holmgren to lock it down. I thought Chet was probably the favorite. If you coming into this episode, if you had to ask me who the DPOY is right now, I would probably pick Chet right now. And I think the mere fact that Wemby is so close to the games played threshold being out of reach, that only locks it for me because the next best rim defender in the NBA behind Wemby, I think, isn't even close as far as the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like he's a prime fucking injury replacement. Chet Holmgren is like prime. He's like right on the edge there. I think if
Yeah,
one or two of these guys go down with injury, I think Chet's gonna be right there as like the like either top injury replacement or like just second over there. He's like right on the edge for me for All-Star selection. Another guy I want to shout out, Keontae George.
I couldn't go that far, but I do think
Yeah.
that he has been really good this season, and I like the fact the playmaking aspect for him has been a big part of it, and I think that I like that he's becoming more aggressive as a scorer. Like I knew that he was a score first guard coming out of Baylor even, but I feel like as the time is kind of built up, he has become more okay with initiating offense in
He's
a
been doing
way
that a
that
lot better
also
recently.
frees up things for others in ways that we didn't see him as a real distributor in his first season and some change, right? So I think when you start having conversations about like if we did like a most improved All NBA team, right? Like a team of just an All NBA team of just most improved candidates. I think Keontae George would have to be somewhere, honestly, maybe in MIP first team,
Yeah,
honestly. But as far as All-Star, that's the one where I couldn't get
yeah,
that far. I couldn't get that far.
yeah. And the one thing I just want to mention with him, 3.5 turnovers. I mean, we kind of like talk about that with Cade, but at least Cade gives you like a good 8, 9 assists per game. 6.5 assists to like the assist to turnover ratio is kind of rough with Keontae, but he deserves to be shouted here. Also deserves a shout out is his teammate Lauri Markkanen. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
27. Like,
Laurie's an inconsistency thing.
yeah,
That's really where he's at. It's not that the counting stats aren't good. His is that there's a lot of inconsistency with Laurie. And I think that's genuinely why there's so much of a question mark around whether or not Utah is truly going to move off of Laurie Marketing or not. It seems like all the hype has died or down around the idea of them genuinely moving him, at least at this trade deadline. Um, but I think again, Laurie's one of those that like the highs are real high. The
yeah.
highs are real high, but some of the lows, man, they make you really wonder. They make you really wonder about where he can be in the pecking order of like, a team that's playing for something like meaningful.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, he was another guy that I had on the list. Not much. I mean, the only other guy like shout out to him because I think like he's like honestly right there with like Chet Holmgren when it comes to DPOY consideration. Rudy
Mm.
Gobert.
Rudy Gobert, so that's again, maybe that's the guy who's the next closest in that DPOY conversation. I was actually gonna mention him earlier because I didn't want to like just disrespect him in that way, but
Yeah.
mm,
No, no, no. Like yeah, for
no, I know
sure.
they're not on your list, but he was one of those players that felt like it was a little bit easier to like leave off. By the way, random stat. By the way, did you know that as far as like getting points at the free throw line, that Denny Avdija leads the league?
Yes,
That's
I did see that.
insane. That's an
Yeah. No.
insane feat when you think about some of the names he's above.
Oh, Jade. I
Like
saw when I saw the Trailblazers live this year. I saw it very much firsthand. It's
he has almost 40 more made free throws than Luka Doncic.
he gets to the like he once
That's
he gets more once
insane.
once he gets more recognition, you're gonna see some foul baiter stuff with him because he's like sometimes he's a tough watch. I will say with Denny Avdija, the stats are fantastic. He's a great player. Sometimes he's a tough watch, especially when he's like trying to draw those free throws. It is a tough watch for Denny Avdija. The only other guy that I was potentially, and I want to shout him out too, just in this aspect because of how surprising this team has been. And I just had like I think a conversation with someone I think I've like a month ago about imagine if this guy made an All-Star team. Dylan Brooks, 22 points per game. I just wanted to shout out him because like he was a big part of like how much like this Suns team has like
Dylan Brooks would definitely be the Andrew Wiggins selection of this year.
yeah.
For sure.
Exactly.
Because for vibes, it totally fits.
Yeah.
He's played well enough.
And he's
He's
poor
played well enough to at least be discussed as a guy that's like, amongst the top 40 in the league this year. So he's like fringe conversation. I'll put it that way.
yeah, 100%. Those are the only other guys. Just some random names too. Jimmy Butler is having a good year, especially efficiency wise, but his team I don't think is good enough to get a second All-Star. And that's about it. Any other names that you were considering?
No, I can't say that I felt like genuinely strong about.
Yeah,
No.
100%. But yeah, I think we're the same. We basically have the same 12 for the Western Conference. If there's anyone else that we forgot though, guys, let us know down below. The West, I feel like has like a lot of like the heavy hitters here compared to the East. And if we look at both of our lists, I mean, you had Karl Anthony Towns and yours instead of Franz Wagner. We both have eight. I think we both have eight international players. We have SGA, Doncic, Wemby, Jokic, Murray. So that's five. And then Denny Avdija, Şengün. So that's eight. Wow, we actually have one over. Interesting. We both have one over.
Who's our one over that doesn't match?
It's Cat and Franz.
Oh, Eh,
Academy front. Yeah. So I don't know. It's weird, but I mean, like that just goes to show that there's a bunch of international talent. So I know like people are like, oh, this is it's gonna look weird in the All Star game, but clearly there's enough like international talent that deserve to be in the All Star game, whether you want to make up those numbers or not. So shout out to those guys. Let us know
yeah.
down below if there's anyone that we missed, if there's any one that we didn't even discuss that you think deserves to be in these conversations. We want to hear your thoughts down below. Jay, we're going to be going on to the next topic, and there's not just the All Star game that we're going to be talking about here today. This year, they haven't announced it yet. I'm surprised we haven't had a single like entry announcement for any of these contests.
Yeah, it's been very quiet.
It's been very quiet, and usually you hear like Buddy Hield has declared for this or like has been like selected for this. We haven't had a single thing yet, so we're gonna use this time too as well to decide our dream 3-point and dunk contest in terms of this season. We're gonna start with the 3-point contest, Jay, and I feel like there's a lot of good selections here. I want to hear your dream 3-point contest field. This feels like probably the most prestigious event of the weekend. It feels like every year, like you can't really go wrong with the 3-point contest. Who do you want to have here as your eight picks, or do you want me to go with my 8 picks?
So we're going dream and not necessarily based off of like just efficiency this year.
Not as officially, like just kind of like who do you like in terms of the 8 guys that are current in the NBA that you want in your 3-point contest? Who would it be?
Okay. So we have to have Steph.
Okay, I have him 2 in mine.
I don't know how much more time we have with Clay. I don't know how much more time we have with Steph, to be quite honest. So we gotta have those two.
I have both of those 2. Just a legacy pick. I want both of them in the contest.
Definitely. We have to have D-Book, I feel like. Kind of fits that conversation as well.
Okay.
This is where I'm going to kind of get a little different, but there's a little bit of a theme I'm shooting for here. Let's see if I can kind of like etch it out. I want Jamal Murray here.
I have Jamal in mine too. Okay.
I want Michael Porter Jr. on this list.
I have him in mine as well. Interesting.
Okay, cool.
I'm
liking buttery shots. That's kind of what I'm aiming for.
Exactly.
Another guy who I think has earned my respect as a 3-point shooter a lot faster than I would have thought. I have Con Knipple on this list.
I have him on my list as well. I want Con in there.
Okay. So we're cooking right now. And then kind of beyond that is when it gets kind of tricky. But again, we're talking dream. So it's not necessarily worried about whether or not the name value truly is like, worth the pick or not. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I still put Duncan Robinson on my list.
Okay, just shot wise, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I still put Duncan Robinson on my list. And another young guy I decided to lean with just because I think it would be interesting. I put Reed Shepherd on here.
I like it. I like those picks. Especially what helps too with someone like a Reed Shepherd and Con Knipple. They're both probably going to be at the rookie sophomore game or whatever it's going to be this year. So they're going to be there too. I like it. I absolutely like it. I think I only have like 2 like difference from you. And the only reason I have this guy in is because I just like for me a 3-point contest is a 3-point contest unless someone's there defending their crown. So I had Tyler Hero in there.
Yeah, that would have. Man, that's a good one. Yeah, because
I just feel like I know he was here last year because he was an All-Star, but I want him to come in here at least to defend his crown.
Can I flip him out for Reed?
Okay, if you want to, yeah.
Still get to play. Still gets his old teammate Duncan Robinson in the mix, though. I'm gonna keep Duncan.
Okay.
I'll flip Reed out for Tyler because I do think if it's gonna be a dream 3-point contest, I do want the reigning winner on the list. That's a good point. I'll flip out Reed for Tyler Hero.
Yeah. So I have him on the list. I also have Devin Booker on the list as well. I think we have 6 completely. Now that you have Tyler Hero, we have 7 like exactly the same. The only other guy I have here, you have Duncan Robinson here. I want Tyrese Maxey in this.
Okay.
I want a Tyrese Maxey in this list.
Not your traditional knockdown 3-point shooter, but I think that's not really the point. He has been really, really efficient from beyond the arc.
Efficient.
And
I feel like the personality aspect of it too. I feel like it's gonna add to the contest. Like the personality aspect of Tyrese Maxey, I think would be great. So I think the
Yeah.
only really difference is like I have Tyrese Maxey and I think you have Duncan Robinson in.
Yeah, that sounds like that's the only real difference.
Yeah, but I want Tyrese Maxey. Some other guys though I was thinking about Reed Shepard. Not gonna lie, I was definitely thinking of Reed. I know efficiency wise, it's like he's up there, but low key, I just like having like the Matt Bonners enter this contest, like the Jason Caponos, and I wanted that this year to be Vit Krejci. I wanted that to be Vit Krejci this year.
TV, can I tell you something crazy?
What?
I definitely thought about it for vibes.
I want because I love those random just role players who are just
Yeah,
pure shooters, like somewhere in the mix. Like I mentioned, the Matt Bonners, the Jason Caponos of the world. I think
yeah.
Cook was in a 3-point contest one year.
Yeah, I definitely thought who could be my random wild card. See, I thought the guy I ended up going with as a quote unquote wild card ended up being Reed, but Vit
Like,
Vit's
you know what,
right
Jay?
there.
I'll switch one out. My dream one. I don't even care if like I mean I love Devin Booker's jumper. He hasn't been a great 3-point shooter this year. Just the last 2 years have been kind of iffy. I don't mind
True.
removing him and putting Vet just to throw a spanner into the works. Just
Right,
to throw a whole spanner into the works. I want Vit Krejci in there.
bro. Shout out Vic Krejci, bro. He. If there's one thing he can do, him and AJ Green, it's like if there's one thing those dudes can do, snipe.
Yeah, those are snipers, man. I mean, you got the beautiful jump shots of like Knipple in there, Clay Thompson, Steph Curry. MPJ to a certain extent, I'm interested to see if MPJ like in this contest too, because a lot of these
Mm,
guys have like standstill 3-point shots, and Michael Porter Jr. just gets so high on his release point. I just don't know like how much like how low key. I don't know how he's gonna finish the racks. I don't know how he's gonna finish the racks.
hey man, hey man.
It's
That would be interesting, nonetheless. I think that would be a pretty crazy 3-point contest.
okay, but yeah. So go through your dream field again with what the changes.
So if we're adding everybody, let me make sure I pull the names back up. So the ones that I felt were locks, Steph. We had Clay. That was Con, Jamal Murray. We had Devin Booker, Duncan Robinson. Why do I feel like I'm missing somebody now? Tyler Hero. Am I missing somebody now?
Do you say MPJ?
MPJ's the one I'm missing. I don't know why I couldn't.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
that's your list.
I
My
believe that's
list,
the last person I'm missing. Yeah.
yeah. So now I have my list would be Steph Curry, Jamal Murray, Knipple, Clay Thompson, Tyrese Maxey, Tyler Hero, Michael Porter Jr., and Vit Krejci. Yeah, I'm adding Vit Krejci in there. I want to see this again. Shout out to the random role players who are always like randomly inside this in this 3-point contest. I want it to be Vit Krejci this year, 100%. Let us know if there's anyone else you're missing. I mean, we didn't include Buddy Hield, who seems to always go off in the 3-point contest. Maybe not winning. I think he won it once, but he always puts on a good show. There's a few other guys. We want to hear your dream field down below. And Jay, for finally the dunk contest.
Yeah.
It's been definitely up and down. Obviously, people are going to say, "Oh, we're 10-year anniversary of the Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon dunk off. That was one of the best moments in All-Star Weekend history."
Still is.
Still is 100%. But Jay, with the selection that we have now in the NBA, who would be your 4 guys that you would want in this dunk contest?
Okay, so can I ask you something before I list my 4 to make sure that I understand how we want to go about this?
Okay, let me hear it.
Can we stop disrespecting Mac McClung by making him a mascot? Because I feel like throwing Mac McClung in here and saying, oh, he's defending the title. This is the one where I couldn't do it.
Fine. You know what? I'll say let's both not have Mac McClung in there. We both not have him.
Because I feel like it's too easy to just insert him in there because he comes in and saves the dunk contest every single year that gets sent to a G League team like 2 weeks later.
I know. Fine. We'll make our dunk contest without the defending champion this year because I feel like it's just ridiculous how many times we have to include a G Leaguer just so we can get this guy, just so we can get it a bit more exciting. Come on, guys. We need the freaking star players to step up.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's all I'm saying. I feel as though we have to get to a point where the NBA stars need to save the All-Star weekend themselves. Like, they should not be calling a G League player in to come save their dunk contest. That's just how I feel. I don't know.
Okay, no,
That
I
might
feel you.
that
I
might
feel
be
you.
me being
Shout out to
nitpicky,
him
but
though. He's on your Windy City Bulls.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. Shout out to my guy. I'm not trying. That's why I said I want to stop disrespecting him by turning him into like this walking mascot for the NBA once every season, where they come dust him off real quick. The man's averaging like 26 points or something like that in the G. You dust him off for a dunk contest and then send him back, and he's like, "Dang, a brother can't even get a full two-way. Like, what the heck's going on here? Like, that's crazy. That's just
And,
crazy to me.
yeah.
I'm not really feeling that one. That's just math. I'm not really feeling that one.
Hey,
So,
it's easy for him too because he's probably going to be on that G League team on like the rookie sophomore game too. So, but yeah, no, we'll make this contest without him. Who was your four guys?
okay. So taking Mac McClung out, my lock or locks, so to speak. John Morant needs to earn some good graces. And I think this is a way to kind of get people back on his side a little bit. It might not be great, but it's better than nothing. I think John Morant needs to be in. Number 2, TV, I want to see VJ Edgecombe. I need it.
Okay.
I need it. I like it. I need it. I don't think this guy is going to be a good in-game dunker. Excuse me. I don't believe this guy is going to be a good dunk contest dunker. But I've been shocked before. He's very good as an in-game dunker. And TV, I have a thing about star players, especially star players when we start having conversations about face of the league or faces of the league and different things like that, that these guys take on the mantle when it comes to stuff like dunk contests. We watched Zion Williamson dodge it for years. We watched him dodge it for years. I don't even want to see him in it anymore. One guy I do still want to see in it, even though I know he won't do it, I want to see Anthony Edwards in the dunk contest, man. I want to see it.
Man.
I know he won't, but it's a dream. It's my dream. I'm allowed to do what I want.
Fine, fair enough.
I know he won't, but it would be dope. And he's a better in-game dunker for sure. I'm sure if we put 3 bodies in front of him and told him go for a game winner, it's a whole different aspect. So we'll see how that whole thing goes. But I just think it would be interesting. And then the last guy, this is going to be a weird way to phrase it, but I don't care. Something about the silent but deadly individuals in the NBA when it comes to dunking is just intriguing to me. And that's exactly why I feel like Amen Thompson would win this dunk contest, despite the fact that I like the rest of my list.
Interesting. What's crazy, Jay, is that we have pretty different lists. We have one similar guy. The rest of the list is
okay. So I'm really interested to hear your list then now.
Okay, the only guy that we both have similar is John Morant.
Okay, that makes sense.
Get him in good graces. Get him in the Sumner contest. Just do it once, man. Just do it once. That's all we
Just
ask.
for the one time, bro. I mean, you're already practically wearing a Miami Heat jersey as it is, bro. Just we know you're on the move. Just do the right thing, bro.
Show up for us, man. The show us that you're still. You know what? What this dunk contest can do too is to show these guys you're still athletic. Show these guys that you're still freakishly athletic and that they shouldn't be scared to break
people are worried about the fact that his shot chart percentage around the rim is decreased. And dude,
exactly, yeah,
dude,
go in the All-Star game, go in the freaking dunk contest. That's all we ask. But the other 3 guys though, kind of different. Shout out to the 10-year anniversary of the dunk contest. I want Zach LaVine back in here.
I thought about it.
I feel like if there's a year to do it, Zach LaVine's gonna come in 10 years later and say, yeah, I still got this, guys. I'm still one of the best dunkers in the league. And I wanted to kind of, as a celebration, too, of the 10-year anniversary of that dunk contest, I want Zach LaVine in there as well.
I like that you put a little bit of a sentimental spin on it. That does make me like it a lot more. I'm not going to lie. Zach in the dunk contest, I would totally be for that. I'm not going to lie. I would totally be for that.
Love to see it. And I know you don't want this guy in here, but I still want this man in here. Give me Zion Williamson.
I don't blame you. Yeah. I think we've literally put this list together like 2 or 3 years in a row, and I've been burned so many times. I gave John Morant the benefit of the doubt because he just genuinely needs the PR. But I'm afraid Zion Williamson's gonna go for one of these dunks, and he's gonna get a 50 and an ACL tear in the same dunk. Like I don't know what to do with that, TV. I don't know what to do with that, TV. You've been dealing with ACLs, MCLs, and hamstrings all year. If Zion Williamson hits a 50 with a 180 twist that loses an ACL in the process, I don't know if I care anymore, DV. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if I care anymore. So this is for his sake now.
Oh
At one
my
point it
god.
was for my expense. It was for my entertainment that I wanted him in. Now for his safety, stay home. Stay home, my brother. Stay
Oh
home.
my gosh.
Goodness gracious,
Oh
man.
my gosh. I was gonna say
I
he's
want him to.
healthy
I want him
enough
to
this
so bad.
year.
I want him to so bad, bro. But Jesus, man, Jesus. I've just seen so many. There's so many dudes dealing with ankles. So many dudes dealing with goddamn MCLs and ACLs and hamstrings. Zion gave us one play-in tournament game
And he
that
already
he balled in. He balled in it. And didn't even get to play in the postseason. Oh, come on, bro. Come on. Like, you think we're gonna get to Zion the type dude, we're gonna get him in the All-Star game, or we're gonna get him on All-Star weekend. He gonna be selected for the dunk contest. He's gonna put his name in the dunk contest. And on one of those 3 practice days before the All-Star weekend, he comes up with a hammy. That's where we're at, bro. That's where we're at, bro. I
that,
love
that
Zion, bro, but bro, he's stressing me out, dude.
that's my dream, bro. The
He's
dream is
stressing me
I
out.
will keep that dream alive. So right now I have Jaw, I have Zach, I have Zion, and then you're talking about the silent dunkers. I don't think this guy dunks silently, but this guy's definitely like a silent killer on the court. Give me Shaden Sharp. Give him another try.
Yeah,
Give
I
me
thought
Shaden.
about him when I was talking. Remember when I was talking about like solid but deadly bounce? As far as like guys who are like they don't talk too much, you don't hear too much about them or hear about too much from them. But like when that dude gets that da da da, like then you like
Yeah,
remember like oh yeah, that he's one of the like the bounciest guys in the league. Shaden was there. We just seen him before, so like I mean it
I
was
feel you.
okay. It was
Yeah, if I'm going
okay.
with my dream, I know he didn't have like the best performance the last time he was around, but if I'm going with my four, this dunk contest that at least I'll have in here, at least have a lot of guys that have been, fans have been clamoring to be in dunk contests, and then enough of like hype where it's like, okay, maybe you'll have unrealistic expectations if ends up being the dunk contest, but I think these guys got to be good. But let's be honest, we're gonna be settling for Mac McClung. We're gonna be getting. I'm not saying settling for Mac McClung, but he's gonna be the freaking again the G League mascot again. We're gonna have probably Trey Murphy back in here. It's not gonna be the most star-studded pool, but we could dream. We could dream.
I mean, hey man, I knew it was a deep pool going with Anthony Edwards. I knew it was a deep pool because I know he's not gonna do it. I know he's not, and he doesn't need to do it. He doesn't need to. Truthfully, like
Yeah,
it's fair, but like, please, bro. Like, oh man,
yeah. Speaking of the Zion thing too, I just don't think the Pelicans would allow him to travel.
dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even think Zion's allowed to play rec basketball. Like, I'm gonna. I'm gonna be so honest with you. I promise you that the clauses in that man's contract by now probably built like the Lord of the Rings, dog. Like it's getting ridiculous.
It's a scroll that just keeps on
Dude,
going. It's a
dude,
scroll.
what? Dude,
Yo, him and
what?
Joel, bro. Him and Joel
You
has to
give
have like the biggest, the fine prints, and like you have to like zoom in like
bro.
super closely with a microscope. Him, Zion Williamson, and Joel Embiid have to have the smallest like fine prints in their contracts.
There's this part. I'm sure there's this stadium tour guide aspect of the Smoothie King Arena where like if you lead them from the skybox, they tell you to look down through the window and you can see the latter edges where Zion signed his name on the back end of the contract because the contract still rolling out the door. Still trying to figure out where it ends at. I mean, yeah, I don't even believe he's allowed to play rec basketball. I'm gonna be so honest with you. Like,
Hey
I
man,
I would love to see him in the dunk contest so bad because I think he would actually, especially with his new frame, I think he would actually be kind of dope. Like his old frame, I think was like it was more like impressive because like dang he's that big dunking like that. But like there were a couple of games this year where like even like most recently when he was like coming off the bench and hooping, like it was just games where like he looked so much swifter, I think is the word I want to use. So I think
yeah,
that as a 2 foot leaper that seems that already had a crazy first step as it was. Now he's got a little bit. Now he's a little bit lighter. Like, I think it could be really dope, but I don't
Yeah,
know, man. I don't
we
want.
can
I
see.
can't see that man get injured at All-Star Weekend, bro. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I don't want to see
That's
that.
crazy
Again.
word.
Hey, look, in our dream scenarios, we turn injuries off. We can we control them like we do in 2K, and we just put them into the thing, and we just hope for the best. Let us know what you guys think down below. Is there any other Loki dunkers that we didn't get to talk about here? I mean, Vijay Ejikun was a good one. I do like that too, but
Yeah,
I
my
feel like him
sleeper
and
one was Stephon Castle too. He was one I thought about.
Stephon, he was solid
Yeah,
last year. He was definitely solid, so I wouldn't mind seeing him back too. But yeah,
yeah,
shout
we've
out to
seen him
them.
before.
Let us know if there's any other 3-point contest participants you want to see, dunk contest participants you want to see. Let us know in the comment section down below. Jay, we have reached the end of today's episode. Thank you guys for watching. Heavily All-Star themed episode today. But
Yeah.
thank you guys for tuning in. Let us know what you guys think of it down below. What do you have to tell these beautiful people before we sign out?
Hey man, NBA trade deadline, bro. It's gonna be here before you know it. The fact that we're already almost midway through January tells you that like the NBA is not wasting any time, bro. John Morant may be on the move. Anthony Davis still could be traded. It sounds like all the Giannis stuff has died, but it sounds like the Milwaukee Bucks want to build their own version of the budget monstars around the dude. So they've been in literally every trade conversation under the sun.
Yes.
Like, tune into the podcast, bro. We're going to be talking about this every single week. So, I mean, if they're on the trade block, they're being discussed on the podcast. Trust me.
100%. 100%. And you're going to be able to check that out every single week on the Hit Your Free Throws podcast page here on YouTube, on the podcast networks. And of course, you want to check out the Hit Your Free Throws podcast. If you want to see daily content from the Hit Your Free Throws podcast, the social medias, we've been rolling 2 to 3 videos a day. You want to be locked in with the picks, with the clips, all that good stuff. We have a lot coming for you, and we're covering the NBA season from top to bottom as we do every single year. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate all of you guys tuning in once again. We'll be back next week for another great episode. But yeah, hope you have a fantastic day. This is TV. This is Jay. We're signing out. Peace.